mythology and stories have a role and a place in human psyche and in life.
Well,
they're
I
not
agree.
meant to be taken literally. If they're taken literally, then you haven't got a conversation with the other person because you're not talking about the same things.
Right.
Words don't mean the same thing at all, you know?
Well, you're particularly well versed in metaphor, and you can use it so much better and recognize it so much better than most other people. But there are a lot of people, because of your intelligence, because you're able to manipulate abstracts so easily with your mind, but there are a lot of people, mainly in Texas, who who literally take the Bible word for word.
Okay, it's got nothing to do with me.
Well, it apparently doesn't right now because you're in Canada, but you know, when you have an organization like that who are in charge of nuclear weapons, then you really have to try and do something about it.
And that's what you're doing, trying
Well,
to do something about it?
Yeah, undermine. You see, one of the basic defenses of religion is for instance, to hold up actually mistakes in the way we think as being virtues, which is one of the things is blind faith. If I have faith, I don't need reasons. This is a terrible mistake. It's not. It's not a virtue. It is a mistake, because if you believe, it's the way the religion defends itself and perpetuates. It says, oh, I don't have to answer to reason, because I'll just keep changing the goalposts when, you know, and we'll just keep sort of saying, well, God isn't this. What we really meant was it was this. If you're able to interpret the Bible in a metaphoric way, what you have to do is take people who believe in the Bible and say, look, if you're not a fundamentalist, you're a wishy-washy, you know, you
It's important for you to be able to tell other people what they are. Is it?
Yeah, no,
exactly?
no. It's not important for me to tell other people what they are, but if people call themselves fundamentalists, then you have to believe them, I think.
And either there's fundamentalists or wishy-washy pretenders who
Well,
are,
who should know better.
we should know better.
Because if you don't believe in what the Bible says, and you want to interpret this way and interpret this that way and interpret this something else, then leave the Bible and do something. You know, go
There
to
might be
Shakespeare.
something of
Shakespeare is much more interesting, much more well written, much more deep.
Wait,
because
there's no curriculum that calls for meditation. There's no curriculum that calls for constant self-evaluation or gives you the skills to do it. No, we're all taught.
No, that meditation would be a good thing to learn, because
Well, yeah, but
you see that's not in contradiction to science.
Very threatening to authority. I mean, if they were, if
Well,
you
I
couldn't
think
just laugh them off and push them over to the side. I mean, if everybody just dispensed with everything they didn't need, lived in the moment, cared for others, I mean, the whole world would fall to bits. There'd be nobody working in the salt mines at all. How would
I
you
mean,
run
certainly.
a society
Oh,
like
certainly,
this?
the society would have to change.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's what
it's-
I mean. Subversive
It's
to society.
running the whole society.
It would subvert our society. That's what
Yeah.
subversive means.
It doesn't mean it would destroy the society. It just means, for instance, it could mean it just slows it down. Everything works, but within a reasonable way. You work 4 hours a day instead of 8. And in that way, you live a
That
very
way-
comfortable life.
But
and
that's not the
still have-
object of society. The object of society is to take people, make them work to make someone else rich and happy.
Yeah.
And there's never any end to it. They never get enough. They'll never have enough. They'll never say, okay, you guys can just work for 4 hours.
It depends on going directly to how you feel and not through how you think. And we need to learn how to think in order to protect ourselves from that kind of stuff. You know, you
Well, you
have a
still have
beautiful
to-
woman on there, and the guy walks into the bar and there's this beautiful
drinks
woman,
the right
and they
stuff.
really like him because he's so popular,
Yeah.
and that's because he drinks this kind of beer.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
There's not that much science in there. I mean, anybody can understand
You
that.
mean psychology is not a science?
There's a lot of psychology which you don't have to study science to understand will work if you've got the proper equipment.
But if you made a real study of it and sold your knowledge as an advertising expert,
Yeah.
it would be valuable.
Yeah.
There is a science
Oh yeah,
there.
that's why we all need to go and learn those sorts of things so that we know what kind of things people are trying to pull over our
How they're
eyes.
trying to manipulate us.
They can actually use that stuff because it really is useful.
That's why they pay billions
Yeah,
and billions
science
of dollars
finds
for it
out
every
how
day.
things really work. And therefore they become very, very useful, very valuable, because you can actually rely on them to give you proper information about the world and to use it. And that's why science works. That's why you base your decisions on science and not on